look at this back-to-back uploads for the first time in a while. Like I said, don't expect this to be a consistent thing, every day. It just happened that I had a little bit of time today, although not really, but I'm making time. But this will be the fourth quarter analysis of the Alabama-Florida State game. I really wanted to finish this because there was so much to see, and I wanted to make sure you guys got to see a lot of the things that I saw. So here it is. Also, it's good to note that I also was able to do a little analysis of the Alabama-Fresno State game. I don't know if I'm going to do like a huge video of that, or maybe I'm just going to like make it small. I think I'm going to do one video, doing the whole game. Um, Try to do the Auburn Clemson game. We'll see what happens. By the way, let's jump into the fourth quarter here. So, starting out, the protection is great for Florida State. Protection is great for Alabama here, as Alabama has the ball. Although Florida State looks tired, or they're half rushing, one of the two, or both. Um, Jalen hits Ridley on a 5-yard in route here. Although Erman Lane smacks him, he smacks him short of the first down there. Um, and then, let me see, 14 minutes, 21 seconds. Uh, Devontae Smith and Henry Ruggs are in at wide receiver along at a two tight end formation. So Brian Dable's influence is showing up here as he implemented multiple tight end formations of the Patriots with Smith at H-back. So the line crashes down left. They block left, and Bo Scarborough wins against Rodarius Hoskins, the linebacker for Florida State. He comes up and he gets the first down on the play. 14 minutes left in the fourth quarter. An inside handoff to Bo Scarborough for 6 yards. He fell forward through some wrap-up tackles, and I could tell here that Florida State is actually tired at this point. Early in the game they were making the tackle, they were stopping, but now he's starting to get a little bit more room, and they're having trouble tackling him. 13 minutes, 30 seconds. Another inside run, so we're like clamming them in here. Another inside run for Bo Scarborough, but Florida State's still fighting. DeMarcus Christmas, Matthew Thomas, and Brian Burns, the leaders right there, they stop him at about 3 yards. So 12 minutes, 50 seconds. Jalen Hurts, he moves Bo Scarborough from set right of him to set left, showing that he knows how to ID the blitz. That is a very good thing. That's another example of Jalen's development. He's looking, he's pre-reading the play, he sees what the defense is doing, and he's seeing where the blitzes come from. So he sets him out to the left side. It's good recognition. That is growth. There was solid enough protection here as Jalen targeted the matchup he wanted, which was Henry Ruggs on Darren McFadden, 1v1 toward the left pylon. So it was just Ruggs on McFadden. McFadden ran almost like, McFadden. Ruggs ran like a little fade route toward the back corner end zone. Jalen put the appropriate amount of air on the ball here, while having the right amount of arm strength to not hang too long in the air to where the defender can make a play on the ball. Honestly, the placement was perfect. It was headed, or at least almost perfect, or yeah, basically perfect, headed right toward the back left pylon, which is where Ruggs was running his route. As Ruggs released outside, he got outside release on the left sideline. He actually had a step on McFadden. He beat him, but he just couldn't get enough hands on the ball. I think it hit basically the tips of his finger, like right here. That's where it hit, both of his hands, his tip of his finger, and the ball just kind of bounced out. Jalen, honestly, you couldn't really throw that any better. If Ruggs was taller, that's a touchdown. It's really hard to change the trajectory of that ball anymore without it being underthrown or overthrown. So great job there. Just almost a touchdown. Could have been a touchdown. Oh man, impressive throw. And then, unfortunately, because our field goal kicking situation is interesting, we missed a field goal after that. So 12 minutes, 28 seconds. Florida State's back on the ball, and Mac Wilson's in at linebacker. Alabama's playing zone here. I think maybe a cover 3 based on what I saw. Mac Wilson jumps the throw to Alden Tate because DeAndre Francois stared down his receiver. He stared down Alden Tate. At this point, DeAndre Francois shook. It was a good job of Mac Wilson to read his eyes. He was just looking over there, and Mac Wilson said, all right, he's just looking. I'm going to move that way. And when he released the ball, Mac Wilson jumped it, got the interception. He is developing. Mac Wilson is developing pretty quickly. I'm seeing him do a lot of things that, older, more experienced linebackers do, and it shows him why he's able to play and get into the game more often, even than his contemporary Ben Davis. Uh, Also on this same play, watch Isaiah Buggs engage his lineman and then starts to shed Minshew. He didn't completely shed him here, but he was pushing upfield. Isaiah Buggs does a really good job of rushing like that, where he'll engage a guy or he'll just power right through their arms to get to the quarterback. And I think when he refines his hand usage, man, he's going to be a really good defensive lineman. But this is just an example of that. Go look at him. 12 minutes, 22 seconds. We got the two tight ends again, but this time with Najee Harris. It's a stretch right, but Matthew Thomas flies in to stop him at the line of scrimmage. Matthew Thomas still fighting hard here, still fighting hard. 11 minutes, 52 seconds. A QB draw goes wrong. As Bradley Bozeman didn't hold his block long enough on Frederick Jones. Frederick Jones, not talked about as much as some of these other Florida State defensive linemen, but still a very strong guy, very good defensive lineman. Jones got Jalen about a second after pulling the ball back from Najee Harris. It was a QB option. As soon as he pulled the ball back from Najee Harris, here comes Frederick Jones wrapping him up. So it was unfortunate. 11 minutes, 7 seconds. Josh Sweat and Brian Burns had Jonah Williams and Matt Womack on skates. I mean, when they decided to rush here, they really rushed. Sweat beat Jonah Williams pretty badly, as Jalen Hurts had to scramble away. And this is one of those few instances where Matt Womack actually did a better job of pushing his end, which was Brian Burns, wide. So when your ends are rushing up the field, your offensive linemen want to make sure they take the long path to the quarterback, like all the way in the loop. And he made Burns kind of go further out, where Sweat was able to actually get a bend on Jonah Williams and get more of a direct path to Jalen. So I was actually surprised that Jonah gave that up. And then, as usual, who was the worst out of this play was that DeMarcus Christmas just had his way with Lester Cotton. He engaged him, and he shed him. When he saw Jalen Hurts stepping up to run away, DeMarcus Christmas said, "All right, Lester Cotton, I'm done playing with you." And he moved him out of the way, and he got Hurts, or at least was able to kind of keep him going right there. So Jalen couldn't step up and stay in the pocket. Jalen had to scramble right, keep going right, but he kept his head up here. This is every time I say this, this is something to know. This is important. He kept his head up, and he flung the ball to the wide receiver heading toward the right sideline. It was well placed, actually. No chance for anybody to intercept the ball or the defender to get their hand on it. It was only where his wide receiver can get it. So that is a sign of development. The fact that he scrambles, keeps his heads up, puts the ball with good placement where it needs to be. That's just as an important play as him hitting Ridley down the field. 11 minutes, 49 seconds left. Where am I going here? I think, Florida State here doing a running play. They pull left. They pull their lineman left for Cam Akers. But Christian Miller was in the backfield before the pull could get there, and he wrapped Akers up for a 2-yard loss. He really got him down there. Wrapped him up for the 2-yard loss, and still making plays at this point. So I'm not exactly sure when Christian Miller got the biceps injury that just kind of took him out. But at this point, he's still playing, or either that he's playing through it somehow, which I doubt it, based on the fact that he'd be out for the season on this bicep injury. So I'm not sure exactly when it occurred. Let's see. I think to this point, Florida State had 46 yards in the second half. 46 total yards in the second half for Florida State. That is crazy. Alabama's defense just turned the lights on and was just getting them out of there. 10 minutes, 11 seconds. Alabama playing zone again on defense. Watch Isaiah Buggs dominate Alec Eberle. He dominated him. Just dominated inside. And where I told you he doesn't use his hands as well, but he does that rush where he powers through the offensive lineman's hands. He did it here where he just kind of kept pushing himself forward. Inside to pressure Francois, forcing Francois to scramble here. Like I said, he definitely has the potential to be a great power rusher. I really like that. Minka Fitzpatrick forces DeAndre Francois out of bounds after 4 yards, kind of delivers a pop on him as he gets toward the sideline. And people are like, we wanted that to be, late hit, but he hit him in bounds. I mean, it's obvious. Now, at the 9 minutes, 42 second mark, Dylan Moses is in the game at outside linebacker. This guy plays a lot of positions. Tony Brown's at the star position, and they move Fitzpatrick back up to safety. And there was a heavy pressure here as Keith Holcomb, Dylan Moses, Christian Miller, and Minka Fitzpatrick all came out in some form of rush or blitz. And the FSU line was confused as Rick Leonard slides his protection inside like he usually does for some reason when the blitz is coming. While Christian Miller gets a free pass at DeAndre Francois, who slides up to evade the pressure, but he has to hurry his throw to Alden Tate on a slant route. But the ball comes out bad and it hits the ground. So like because he's rushing and because he can't really set his feet well, he throws the ball and it's a bad throw and it hits the ground. So he's shook and the pressure is getting to him and he doesn't know what to do. Now on the ensuing punt, Diggs, this is where people are like, oh man, like both with that personal foul and Matthew Thomas with the punter, it was like he called fair catch. Diggs did call a fair catch. I watched it a few times. It was just very quick. It was really, really quick. He just kind of flung his hands up, and caught the pass, and then Matthew Thomas hit him. But it was noticeable, which is why the officials gave him the flag. Now, 9 minutes, 22 seconds. There's a shotgun handoff here for Alabama to Bo Scarborough. The line blocked left, leaving a hole on the right. And Bo picks the right hole, and he goes there for 7 yards, and he ran over Trey Marshall. Trey Marshall got ran over with power by Bo Scarborough. And the funny thing is that not Darren McFadden. This is not the Arkansas Razorbacks or the Dallas Cowboys. This is not a running back. Tavares McFadden, he didn't want any of Bo Scarborough on this play. He didn't want any of them. He could have met Bo Scarborough in the hole. He could have. He nobody was blocking him. He could have came up and stopped Bo Scarborough. But he let Bo get through and actually run toward the middle of the field. So at this point, they don't want to tackle anymore. 8 minutes, 45 seconds. Watch Bo Scarborough keep pushing through Derek Nottie. Like, Derek Nottie is the strongest man in college football, according to some. He kept, Nottie grabbed him, and he just kept fighting, turning his legs, and got the first down. As he is met at the line of scrimmage. So Nottie got him at the line of scrimmage, but he kept powering through and got the first down. Now, the 8 minutes, 9-second mark is a double tight end left. So Alabama's got 2 tight ends on the left, which is very similar to New England Patriots formation. As a run for Bo inside. So we just keep hammering away with Bo Scarborough here. As a big hole opens up. A big hole now because we're wearing him down. We're pushing for a 5-yard gain. At early points in the game, this just was not happening. We weren't able to run with this much consistency. 7 minutes, 25 seconds left. 2 tight ends on the right this time, and it's another inside run. But Florida State stacks the line of scrimmage well, and Matthew Thomas flies around the edge of the line of scrimmage to actually get the runner, to get Bo here. And I was like, man, he's fast. And did a long stride. He really is 6'4". You can see it in the way he runs, but he really got there quickly. Talented guy. 6 minutes, 42 seconds. Jalen Hurts shifts Damian Harris from set right to set left. So he does it again. He identifies his protection. He IDs the blitzer, and he puts his running back to be in the right position to block or to leak out to account for the protection. Florida State here has 6 men on the line of scrimmage. But it was actually well played by Florida State because they tricked Jalen here. They know Jalen can identify the blitzer. So what they did was they made him overthink it. Or in the case, they confused him by doing this. By having so many people on the line of scrimmage, he didn't know which side the blitz was coming from. So they pretended to show where the blitz was coming from, which would have been Matthew Thomas on the right side of the defense. But it actually was Derwin James who was on the left side. And James actually came free on the blitz from this left side of the defense instead of Thomas, and there was instant pressure on Hurts, and he just had to evade the instant sack and throw the ball away. So Alabama had to settle for a field goal here, and this was the last score of the game, 24-7. Now, 6 minutes, 25 seconds left. Florida State comes out, they're still trying to move the ball here. They got 4 wide receivers on the field, so they actually went 4 wide receivers again. And they put Dylan Moses, Alabama did, rushing inside. So they kind of have him an inside linebacker, or at least as an outside linebacker, playing in the inside kind of position right now. It was no pressure, though. They picked it up well as DeAndre Francois finds his wide receiver for 6 yards. 6 minutes, 3 seconds left. Wait, how did I say this? Oh, Dylan Moses fakes his blitz. He fakes a blitz there, and he actually plays QB spy instead. With DeAndre Francois trying to go to Alden Tate, but Levi Wallace, the man here, has perfect coverage on Alden Tate. He's just sticking right to him. He can't get free, and he sticks his hands in there and knocks the ball away. Great job, Levi Wallace. 5 minutes, 53 seconds. Alabama actually uses a zone blitz here. And once again, Dylan Moses fakes the inside blitz. So we really like doing this. Now that we've sent the pressure so much, we get Francois to think about it a little bit more. And he comes out to play coverage in the zone where Ronnie Harrison was, because we actually sent Ronnie Harrison on the safety blitz who left his zone. So Dylan Moses went to cover Ronnie Harrison's zone. And because of this, Ronnie Harrison actually gets to come free on his blitz. And he gets a free pass at DeAndre Francois. And unfortunately, this is the play where Francois got hurt, because also Jamie Mosley was easily beating Derek Kelly. And he was coming around the edge, so that's why Francois had to move. He saw Jamie Mosley beating his left tackle, and Ronnie Harrison was running free. So Francois starts kind of moving to the right, trying to keep his eyes up the field, trying to make a play. But he doesn't have enough time as Ronnie Harrison dives at his legs here to wrap his legs up for the sack. And it definitely wasn't intentional, because actually the leg got hurt was the opposite leg of the one that Ronnie really got a good hold of. It was just the non-contact part of it. It was just an unfortunate injury. It was really sad to see. I really want to see Francois stay healthy. Florida State's a good team. I wouldn't mind playing them again, in the playoffs. So very unfortunate. 5 minutes, 29 seconds, though, because that was 4th down. Alabama's back on the ball. Pause the play, whatever you're watching. Pause the replay here when Damian Harris makes his first cut on this play. He just kind of stops and goes the other way. Pause it right there. And you'll see the offensive line's kind of jumble. You see the offensive linemen kind of moving forward to see where they're going to block, but it's a jumble. You can't really see where you're going to run to. I just can't imagine, Damian Harris where he's looking. And so you're like, man, the play's developing. Like, an impatient running back would have just ran into the wall here. But then you keep going, and like I said, the average running back would be tempted to be impatient. But Damian Harris, he dips in a little crevice that's created by Hale Hingis and Bradley Bozeman. Like Hingis kind of pushes this guy slightly to the right, and Bozeman kind of gets this guy a little bit over here, and it's like a little crevice opens up between those two. Damian Harris identifies that in that split second, jumps through there, and Bozeman actually picked up Matthew Thomas, so the linebacker was coming up to fill the gap. So if Damian Harris would slip through that little gap for a 9-yard run, that just shows you why I really like Damian Harris, why I'm high on him, and why he is the starting running back. I mean, just little things like that. Little things like that. Matthew Thomas, though, was able to get just some of him, though, as Trey Marshall also came up and got most of him. So as Damian Harris was slipping by to get through that hole, Matthew Thomas reached out and got a little bit of him, and Trey Marshall came to finish it up. Trey Marshall really just like hitting people. He just likes hitting people. I don't know. He should just be a linebacker. He likes hitting people hard. And he kind of stopped his momentum leading to the tackle. But if he had been able to keep running, he probably, could have gotten a big gain here. The 4 minutes, 50 seconds. The run, pull right. It initially had a hole, but I think it's Jacob Pugh. He actually pushes Irv Smith into a bit of, what happened here? Oh, because Jacob Pugh was pushing Irv Smith, he pushed him just enough to where that hole actually on the right closed up, and it was starting to shrink. But fortunately, the running back was still able to get the first down. Damian Harris here running. So that was actually just a good play by Jacob Pugh to play some run defense. 4 minutes, 10 seconds. As a 2 tight end, single back. So now we're under center. We're under center here, about to run the ball. Giving the ball to Bo Scarborough. Bo inside. He runs into Matthew Thomas, who takes the contact well, actually, and makes the tackle. And he gets, 3 yards here? 3 minutes, 20 seconds. It's a single back formation again, still under center, which is what I like to see. 2 tight ends left this time. Inside handoff, but it has to bounce left outside because the middle of the line of scrimmage is just stacked up by the Florida State defensive line. They're still fighting hard. They do not want to give up any more points. Jacob Pugh and others, they clean up at the line of scrimmage. When they see Bo bouncing to the left, he gets back to the line of scrimmage, but that's it. 2 minutes, 35 seconds. The pass protection and the pocket slides right for Jalen Hurts on a bootleg play here. But Brian Burns blew up Matt Womack so bad to the side that the bootleg was going to, that Jalen Hurts wasn't really able to kind of keep it going. and so he couldn't really bootleg it, and it stopped. And so Jalen had to turn around and try to get a little scramble because number 14, the Florida State defensive back, I don't know who he is, came from the backside blitzing, and it forced Hurts to scramble up. But because he did that, Josh Sweat and company, they just surrounded him and they stopped him and was able to get him at the line of scrimmage or maybe even at the 1 yard. So great pursuit by 14 and great job by Brian Burns to stop Jalen's bootleg from developing further. And then also just at this point, I just started to notice that J.K. Scott's punting has just been great. He's just been punting away, just punting away. Good job, J.K. Except for that one shank. He did shank the ball at one time. But other than that, he's been putting the ball 5 yard line, 1 yard line, 2 yard line. Great job, J.K. overall. 1 minute 36 seconds left. They brought in Blackman because Francois was hurt. And they brought him in there just to run the clock, get out of the game, go home. And also a number 21 for Alabama. We had him playing cornerback at boundary, I believe. Josh Frazier was in the game. Jamar King, who's number 90. Mickey Brown was in the game. Deontay Thompson was in the game. Also a defensive back who's number 25, who I really don't know. He's in the game. Just to really just kind of bring it down. And Cam Akers is still running hard, trying to prove that, he's that freshman running back for a reason. He got his status for a reason. And I also had Sharheem Carter in. That's just my last little notes on the game. That's the full quarter analysis of the game. That's all I got to say, really. Actually, when I look back at my notes, I believe that Christian Miller may have gotten hurt on that last play that I mentioned him in, where he was pressuring Francois and forcing him to step up and the ball was low. Because I remember him reaching out for Francois, and he went down trying to reach for him with his arm outstretched. That could be the play that he got hurt on. I'm not sure. Somebody can figure it out for me. But there we go. I finally finished the Alabama and Florida State game. That's my analysis. What did you think about this whole thing? Let me know what you thought. What are some plays you think I missed or something that you want me to look at more or that you just want to talk about? Leave it in the comment section, and I'll see you for the next video. Thank you for staying with me.